Right, well, 40% of young women, talking about women, feel pressured into sharing nude photographs. That's according to a survey by the relationship website Statusonline. More than half of 16 to 24-year-olds think it's normal to send nude photos or videos to someone they're in a relationship with. But are they considering the possible implications of these photos? Women in particular wish they'd never done that. They'd never shared a nude photo, with 64% of the female survey respondents who had sent in nude material saying that they actually regretted it. Well, Munya Chawawa, I'm going to say
That's
that.
it, spot on.
Did I get it? Oh, yes.
Spot on.
Is a Statusonline ambassador and for music presenter as well, and joins me on the programme now. Very good morning.
Oh, good morning to you as well.
What is going on that women of this age group, I mean, barely women at 16, really, girls, wanting to send explicit photographs?
Well, do you know what it is? It's a very modern day pressure. That's what it is, because we're sort of looking at a sort of comparison between what was then and what is now. And what we tend to find is that, you know, back in the day, if I ask my parents, definitely my grandparents, I mean, they're still using the word courting. For them,
Yeah.
Any sort of flirtation was happening in person at the cinema. Whereas now we can do it all online. We can do it on dating apps. We can send pictures. We can send videos. And so what we're saying is, it's not that, new relationships are just more poorly constructed. It's just that you've smacked down this online, instantly accessible option, and people don't know what to do with it when they feel sort of passionate and in love. And so that's where the pressure to send pictures is happening. And a lot of the time people don't have advice on how to kind of navigate a very modern situation like that.
It isn't. I've got a 21-year-old, and I did say to him about sending photographs, and all he said to me was, well, I don't show my face. And I'm like, well, why are you showing anything? Honestly, I couldn't. I thought he was going to say, me, mother, never. But is there something to do here as well with the sort of sexualized pressure? So it's not romantic pressure, but that we're told a lot of young men and women are watching pornography, and they have this sort of view of what a sexual relationship should look like.
I mean, absolutely. It's like what you were saying earlier. We're seeing the magazines, and we've got shows like Love Island where it's physical.
Yeah.
Across 2 weeks. Let me tell you, you're not going to learn the philosophical in and outs of a person. That's from my limited dating experience. But what it is that there's obviously a drive on looks. Also, we're a very we like things. We're very cutthroat. We like things very quickly. Same with food, same with information. And now the same with love. We want to get to the good bit as soon as possible, which is the perception that people have. And almost a way of doing that is not to go back and forth on dates and then say, right, okay, well, now let's get together. It's actually to give that early in the form of, online. And like we said, the stats are 1 in 3 people feel pressured. That's a huge percentage. And then you've got sort of
massive.
40% saying, around 40% saying, I never wanted to get the picture in the first place. So it's almost like we're giving out more than is actually needed because we're not developing the relationship first and then moving into that sort of direction.
Which always as well leads to lack of gratification and the chance that you're going to move on anyway. So
Absolutely.
You may end up doing this multiple times.
And the worst thing about that is that this is what I will say, the internet never forgets.
No.
Once it's on the internet, it is there to stay. I mean, I had a terrible haircut a few years ago, a mohawk, and I cannot escape those pictures. So amplify that to the level of what we're talking about, your son, and all of a sudden, face or not, that's your body there.
That's your body that's out there. I know. But wait, what is it? Are there rules? I mean, this is the thing. This is way out of my comfort. Somebody asked for a video of me, I would laugh, and so would they if they saw it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't. Don't say yes quite so quickly.
I just said that actually. Sorry. I mean, no, they wouldn't.
Cheers. Thanks for that. You can leave now. No. I'm just saying that people like me wouldn't get caught into this trap. Is there a set of rules out there? Because if you're a young woman or a young man now, and you're told that this is the norm now, this is the new normal, is there any reference to the fact, look, hang on a minute, no, this isn't, it's really not a good idea?
Well, here's the thing. So a relationship is a very free-flowing, formless thing, actually. It can be whatever you want it to be. And so the message that we're putting out as Status is not that, you shouldn't be doing this, because there are situations in which that might seem like the most perfectly acceptable thing to do. However, what I did say initially is that it's a very new territory. It's a very unexplored place to be in. We haven't really navigated that, and so they're not rules, but there is advice that you can give, and that's what we do at Status Online on status.org. We're essentially saying, statusonline.org, sorry, we're essentially saying, here are the best circumstances under which you might want to do that. If you've got trust in place, if you understand the consequences of having something on the internet forever. And you can follow the rules if you can follow the guidance if you like to, and if not, do it your own way. But from what we are pushing out, here is the way to do that with foresight to kind of wanting a relationship that lasts, and also
basically building a framework of rules around it, if you like, of advice and rules around it.
Scaffolding almost.
Scaffolding. And while I've got you here, I do want to ask you about this H&M story, because I do find this fascinating, but I'm probably I don't know if I'm unusual as a woman, that I've never really judged myself in comparison to anybody else. I've always looked at a beautiful thing and gone, oh, you're a beautiful thing, or gosh, you're so pretty. But I've never been, oh, I wish I was. I didn't, I've never had that. But I know a lot of women do feel inferior and insecure when they look at other women. What do you make of this, in sort of, like I almost say, like denting something perfect so we don't feel so bad about ourselves?
I mean, I was nodding emphatically when you were, raising your point, because I agree. But at the same time, I was watching Love Island just 2 nights ago, and my girlfriend was, sort of huddled up in a corner. I was like, what's wrong? And it was that whole feeling of, but everyone on there's so perfect. Why are they perfect? Why are we being fed this imagery? However, what I would say is that, all you have to do is imagine a world where that's the only type. Skinny, tall, etc., tan, whatnot. People would get bored. And the fact of the matter is, we're designed different ways. There are some situations that your body will never look like that. But that is an okay thing, because people are still falling in love, people are still getting married. So, like you said, we don't need to shun something that looks better just because we're not quite there, because to someone else...
Do you think that is happening to a degree? I mean,
absolutely.
I was talking to somebody yesterday about the new Netflix program about a fat girl who gets thin and becomes popular, and we were talking about that, and I said yes, but the thing is that the beautiful girl, the pretty one in these American sitcoms, is always bitchy and a cow, but nobody seems to be worried about that. So we have to drag people down so we feel better. Why is that?
Okay, so from a psychological perspective, or from what I have studied at least, when we see a behaviour that we can't particularly work out in another person, our assumption is that they've done it to spite us, or rather we always attribute an ill intention to another person's behaviour. If I happen to have very sort of narrow, pruned eyebrows, which I don't, people are going to think, right, okay, your eyebrows have been designed to offend me and to remind me that mine are super bushy and nearly joined in the middle, which again is fine. But in actual fact, I'm just being me. I'm just living my natural self. And that isn't a crime, like you said.
It's a really interesting time that we're going through at the moment. And Munya, it's been brilliant talking to you this morning, despite the insults, obviously. Munya Chawawa, thank you very much indeed. And I hope that we bump into each other again. For music presenter and status ambassador. Have a fantastic day. Thank you.